All right, let's jump right in. Have you ever had that strange feeling, like a connection to your family that goes way deeper than just old photos or stories? You know, a sense that their lives, their struggles, are somehow running in your veins? Well, today we're going to get into the science that says that feeling might be absolutely real. You know, a quote like this from Liam Callanan just hits you, right? It's so poetic. We think, yeah, of course, we carry their lessons, their memories. But what if that's not just poetry? What if it's biology? I mean, could the things our grandparents or even great-grandparents went through actually leave a physical mark on us right here, right now? It sounds like science fiction, but the answer is a definite yes. And it's all thanks to a pretty revolutionary field of science. To really wrap our heads around this, we've got to go back in time. We need to look at a few historical events that left scientists with this huge, fascinating puzzle they just couldn't ignore. Okay, so look at these two totally separate moments in history. First, the Dutch hunger winter during World War II. A terrible famine swept across the Netherlands. Now, decades later, scientists noticed something really strange. The children who were just fetuses during that famine, they grew up to have way higher rates of obesity and diabetes. And around the same time, in the 60s, doctors noticed that the children of Holocaust survivors, kids born years after the war in totally safe homes, they showed incredibly high levels of stress and anxiety. So here's the big question, the million-dollar question. How is that even possible? These kids never starved, they were never in a concentration camp, so how could their bodies remember a trauma they never actually lived through? The secret, it turns out, isn't in their DNA, at least not in the way you think. And that brings us to the ghost in our genes. This is the biological messenger that carries these echoes from the past, and it has a name, epigenetics. So what is epigenetics? Well, the name literally means on top of genetics. It's this whole other layer of instructions that sits on top of our DNA. Think about it like this. Your DNA is a cookbook. Epigenetics doesn't change the recipes themselves, but it goes through and puts sticky notes on everything, saying make this one or ignore this page, or it highlights certain ingredients. It controls how the recipes are used. This analogy right here is probably the best way to understand it. Your genome, all of your DNA, that's your computer's hardware. It's the physical machine, pretty much fixed from birth. But the epigenome, that's the software. It's the operating system and all the programs that tell the hardware what to do and when to do it. And just like software, it can be updated, it can be changed by the environment. Okay, so how does this software actually run? How does it write these notes onto our genes? Well, it boils down to two main mechanisms. First up, you've got something called DNA methylation. This is where tiny chemical tags literally glom onto a gene. This tag can act like a dimmer switch, turning a gene's volume way down, or it can be a full-on stop sign, shutting it off completely. The other big one is histone modification. See, your DNA is wrapped around these little proteins called histones, kind of like thread on a spool. The epigenome can tell those spools to wind up super tight, hiding the DNA so it can't be read, or it can loosen them up, making the gene available for action. I know, this can sound a little abstract, so let's look at a really classic example that makes it all crystal clear. It's a perfect visual for the power of these little epigenetic switches, the agouti mouse. Now get this, these two mice, they are genetically identical. I mean, they are twins with the exact same DNA sequence. So why on earth do they look so different? Well, the yellow mouse is overweight and likely to get diabetes. The brown mouse is slender and healthy. The only difference is one tiny epigenetic mark. In the yellow mouse, a gene called agouti is switched on. In the brown mouse, that same gene is switched off by one of those little methylation stop signs we just talked about. The craziest part? What can flip that switch is simply what the mother eats during pregnancy. And that right there is the big aha moment. This isn't just random. Our environment, everything we eat, the air we breathe, the stress we feel, it's all constantly writing and editing our epigenetic story. And the list of things that can do the writing is, well, it's basically life. Your diet, especially when you're developing, can leave marks that last a lifetime. Exposure to everyday toxins like pesticides or heavy metals can change how your genes are expressed. And maybe most profoundly, our experiences. Things like stress, trauma, or even how much care a baby gets from its mother, all of this can shape the epigenome. Okay, and this is where it gets truly mind-bending. These epigenetic marks don't always get erased when they're passed down. There was this incredible study where they exposed pregnant rats to a very common chemical. Unsurprisingly, their babies had some health problems. But here's the shocker. Those same health problems were passed down all the way to their great-great-grandsons. 4 generations. None of those later rats ever came near the chemical, but the memory of it was carried in their epigenome. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This all sounds a little bleak, doesn't it? Like we're just haunted by the ghosts of our ancestors' bad habits and traumas. But this story has a really hopeful and honestly, an empowering twist. It's the most important question, isn't it? Are we just stuck playing out a biological script that was written for us generations ago? And the answer from this science is a huge, clear no. Remember that software analogy? Unlike the fixed hardware of our DNA, the epigenome can be changed. Those little chemical marks can often be removed. We are not prisoners. The software can be updated. In fact, this is one of the most exciting areas in all of medicine right now. Scientists are literally creating epigenetic drugs. These are therapies that don't mess with your DNA sequence, but instead, they edit those epigenetic marks. I mean, imagine being able to go in and turn a cancer-fighting gene back on after it's been silenced, or correcting the patterns that lead to Alzheimer's. This isn't science fiction, this is happening now. And this brings all that power right back to us, because you don't have to wait for some futuristic drug. While some of these marks are pretty stubborn, many of them can be influenced by the choices we make every single day. The food we eat, how much we move our bodies, how we handle stress, all of it can tweak our epigenome. We actually have the power to rewrite parts of our own biological story. So let's end on this thought. We all inherit a story written by our ancestors in this incredible ink of epigenetics. Our own lives add new chapters to that book. And what this science is telling us is that we have a real say in the editing process. We can shape the story before we pass it on. We're not just living our own lives, we're writing the first draft for those who come after us. So the question is, what story will that be?